Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mark from SolarGames, and today I just felt like recently there's been so many things happening with Hasbro. I wanted to give kind of a quick follow-up on the whole Hasbro earnings call I covered earlier this week, and then be able to just give you some more ideas about, I think, where Magic and Hasbro and WOTC as a whole is kind of failing the team, right? You know what? Let's do this, right? For today's video, we're not going to talk about Hasbro because that's too big and that's too grand and all that stuff. We're not even going to talk about WotC because they have this whole D&D part that I don't really understand, to be honest, and that's also a pretty big part for Wizards of the Coast. We will talk purely about Magic, and let's just talk about things that are totally wrong with Magic today, right? So number one, I think the biggest problem with Magic is product design. Product design is super dumb right now. And I don't understand why Magic can't figure out exactly what to sell and make it very clear to stores, to players, to distribution, to everybody, exactly how you acquire Magic cards. Right now, like there's so many variants of cards. There's, serialized, non-serialized, hyper, rainbow foils, twisty foils, galactic foils, halo foils. 3 of those foils I just said are not real foils. I don't even know, right? That's where Magic is right now. And then, of course, if you look at even at the booster level, I mean, Magic literally came out and said, our products are too confusing. People don't even know what to order. So we are going to make the play booster. Guys, look, we take the set booster and we take the draft booster, we combine it all together. It's called the play booster. It's everything you love, except it's going to cost you like a little bit more than both. But it's everything you love. When your mom goes to buy you a booster box, she could just buy you a play booster and you're going to be happy and everyone's happy, right? Except now, of course, we're talking about beyond boosters. What the fuck is beyond booster? Like, why does this product need to actually exist? And this is what I mean. Like, there's some parts of Hasbro, or sorry, I said Hasbro. There's some parts of like Magic design team that's not talking to the other side. Like over here, they're like, okay, guys, we gotta make it as confusing as possible. People love stuff. So we're gonna need like one thing and then the variants of this thing, A, B, C, D, E, F, G thing. And that way, when they go buy our product, they don't even know which one to buy. And they're gonna buy everything, right? That's what they're thinking, right? These guys, smart dudes with like hair sticking up, they know exactly what's going on. And then you got over here, like the actual poor like R&D people who are just like, yeah, okay. Where are the cards? Okay, well, where are my cards going to show up? Are they going to be in the draft boosters? Can people actually play with them, or is this just going to be a collectible thing? Like, what's going to happen, right? And then you got the poor stores and players who are like, how many SKUs do I have to order? Wait, so there's a new set, right? But this set has a commander deck, a jumpstart booster, a beyond booster, a play booster, a collector booster, a starter deck booster, a theme booster, and a bundle, and a gift edition bundle, and right? Think about it. This is what literally players and stores have to deal with. And so why are we making the product line so complicated, right? You look across the board at other games like One Piece, whatever. There's a booster box. They're not draftable. They're just booster boxes. Look at Yu-Gi-Oh! There's one booster box. Look at like, okay, fuck Pokemon because Pokemon does the same shit anyways too, right? But look at Grand Archive, one booster box. It makes it really simple when the customers are like, okay, well, I look at what I need. I'm going to buy a booster box so I can play the game. I will buy a deck starter deck so I can just get started with playing the game, right? That's all they need to do. There's no confusing beyond the fact perspectives on what to do here. That to me is much clearer. I don't know why Wizards of the Coast decides and thinks this idea of having like infinite products and lines of product per set is like a better idea. It's really dumb. Okay. Number 2, Universes Beyond. I think Universes Beyond misses the forest for the trees. Hear me out, right? So everyone knows right now, Wizards of the Coast, gosh, I got to talk about Hasbro, right? Okay, I got to talk about Hasbro. Okay, so everyone knows right now Hasbro's bleeding cash like a motherfucker, right? So they have no money. All the money is gone. They're losing money left and right. It's like, think of a dude who's just like went to war, right? And he's like torn to shreds. This guy's missing an arm. He's bleeding from his intestines. He's like stuffing his stomach back in, okay? Sorry for the graphical imagery here, but like, right, this is what Hasbro looks like right now. And then they're like, okay, dude, but somebody's giving me water. Okay, so they get water and they're like, oh, well, water's gonna heal me up. So they start drinking like crazy, right? And this water is like Universes Beyond. It's like, it's pretty good. It gives you some instant relief. But long term, water is not gonna solve your problem. Bro, you're missing an arm. Your whole arm is shot off. You can't drink water and heal the arm back. You gotta figure that out. You're bleeding everywhere. If you don't stop the bleeding, you're gonna die, right? And that's what Hasbro has not figured out. So they're like, okay, look, we have water now, guys. Just drink lots of water. Print more water, okay? So of course, the new like path forward for Magic the Gathering is print tons of Universes Beyond. So we're gonna go from one full set like Lord of the Rings to 2 to 3 to 4 sets a year of like Universes Beyond, right? So that means a full actual tentpole set, which means they have draft boosters, play boosters, commander decks. Like you got probably Beyond boosters and like some weird jumpstart boosters and whatever, right? All that's coming together for Universes Beyond. The problem is this. Number one, my numbers all messed up. Number one, Universes Beyond does bring people in, does bring new players in, absolutely, right? And it's really great for the younger generation, and I get that. However, my question is this. Does it keep them in the game? Because I wonder if the Final Fantasy players come to Magic the Gathering, are they just playing Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy? Or are they going to stay for like Jace the Mind Sculptor? Are they going to stay for, I don't know, like Warhammer? Are they going to stay for Doctor Who? I don't think so, right? And even today, like the people I know that bought Warhammer decks and felt like they were really cool and want to try Magic, they basically stopped playing. And what you still have are just like Magic players who are kind of like, well, I guess I got to put the God of Chaos into my like Rakdos deck because he's kind of good, right? Oh, I got to like put some Necrons into my mono black deck because this card is kind of good. That's what it is. And these decks are losing identity left and right. You got Necrons in the same deck as like, I don't know, some Doctor Who bullshit. You got some like, you're probably going to put some, Fallout crap into your mutants and shit into your black deck. Like, what are you even playing, right? Like it's everything, right? And that, I think, long term, you're going to bleed your core as well. And that's the problem. You're going to have these fresh blood who come in for 1 or 2 sets, but they kind of just disperse and leave because there's Final Fantasy card game. If they really like Final Fantasy, they're going to want to play Final Fantasy every single set and not play Final Fantasy one set and play like Lord of the Rings next. They don't care about that. So they're just going to go back to Final Fantasy, Digimon, whatever. So whatever collab you do, it's a temporary thing, if at all you retain players. Number 2, though, as you dilute your core brand, you're going to lose your core audience. I can't tell you how much of my comment section specifically, and I see this across the board on YouTube, by the way, too, tons of people are revolting against the Universes Beyond. Look, there are things that we all like, right? I like the Street Fighter stuff. I like Warhammer, and I probably will like Final Fantasy, and I probably, honestly, will like a little bit about Fallout. But I don't fucking care about Doctor Who. I don't care about like some of the other stuff. Honestly, I don't even care about the Marvel. And look, you're going to skewer me, right? But I don't care about the Marvel Universes Beyond. It does not interest me. I would rather have a good Marvel game, card game, video game, whatever, than to have Marvel in Magic. It just feels really weird. I don't really want to have Iron Man flying around in Magic, right? And this really is destroying brand. See, the brand part is actually really important because if you think about like specific companies and whatever, they literally dictate things like this, right? Oh, our company logos and colors are A, B, and C, right? Red, blue, and green. You do not put, and the red is like this specific hex code. It's not dark red, it's not crimson red, but it's like this weird maroon red. That matters for a lot of companies, right? It's just kind of weird that Wizard of the Coast or Magic Gathering is starting to eat at its own brand. See, a long time ago, Magic Gathering's brand was like, hey, Magic has no guns. It's all about magic, right? And there's the only technical things we have in here are going to be artifacts. That's by and large what Magic is. So it's like, you have artifacts that are items that can do things. Sure, some of them are kind of mechanical, but that's it, right? There are no guns. There are no laser weapons. There's no Star Wars level like lightsabers flying around in Magic the Gathering. But now there is, and kind of it doesn't matter, right? That's long-term going to actually eat up Magic Gathering. And I don't think Magic has understood this at all. And I think they think, whatever, it doesn't matter. Short term, we're going to have a lot of people come in. Influx of players means that we have new blood. We're just going to figure out ways to retain these people. But it's like, I think the best examples of Universes Beyond not working so far is like, what's that? Like Fortnite Universes Beyond, right? Or even the Arcane one. Did it get people into from like League of Legends or Fortnite to play Magic the Gathering? I highly doubt it. I think most of those people came maybe for one set because they thought it's kind of interesting, cool, whatever. They looked at the cards, great, and then just left. That's it. Number 3 item is this. Basically, I just feel like WOTC does not know how to build a community anymore. Back in the old school days, they were the first to pioneer things like the LGS and the whole idea of like community play, having their product being out there in game stores everywhere and actually have gameplay. People can gather at the store to play the game with each other and just kind of like chit chat, improve locally, and then bring them all together for competitions at the regional, at the national, at the world's level, right? This whole concept, which is a framework that a lot of other card games still use, Wizard of the Coast has basically lost. They don't understand this anymore. They're bisecting their actual audience between digital and physical paper and between all the different formats that they now have but don't want to support. The players don't have a home anymore. The players don't feel like they really want to play. You have players who are like digital only, like they only want to play standard on digital. And now everyone's going back in the store and it's like you have to actually buy cards, right? So is Magic a digital game or not? And this is something that I think Magic fails to understand. Secondly, like what happened to competitive play? It used to be that you watch Magic tournaments, you get really excited. The competitive play was really, really cool. There were tournaments running all the time. And now it's kind of like they're happening, but they're not very well run. And there's like very few people who are attending. And by and large, Magic's audience has turned away from the competitive scene, right? So many players show up to Magic tournaments and it's all about Commander. It's all about, Commander, maybe like competitive CEDH type of things. But in general, people just want to play Commander. And Commander is the format that Wizard of the Coast is selling heavily into. This is why, if you ever wonder why all your product has Commander cards in it, this is why, right? You buy like a draft booster, there's Commander cards. You buy Beyond booster, Commander cards. Play booster, literal Commander cards inserted into the actual boosters. Like there will be a Commander card, right? Commander decks, they're called Commander decks. They're Commander cards, okay? That's the future of Magic. It's all Commander, it's all Universes Beyond. So Commander, Universes Beyond does marry pretty well together, and that's, again, why they're doing it. But I think Wizard of the Coast has misunderstood what their audience wants. And as they bleed more audience, it almost self-reinforces, right? Because all the people who wanted all the competitive play are leaving or going to other games. And of course, Wizard of the Coast can then look at their current audience and say, look, all of our audience like Commander. I knew it. Let's make more Commander. And they didn't realize the point is that they actually lost people to other competitive card games that are catering to that audience. And Wizard of the Coast just, I guess, didn't understand that part of it, right? Okay, point number 4. And this was pretty obvious in the earnings call, but like it's, again, dissected out there. But the fact is that like only 10% of the spending on Magic the Gathering is on R&D. Now, why is that, right? I think part of the problem is that, gosh, I got to talk about Hasbro again. Wizard of the Coast forgot, and Hasbro too, forgot that they're a product company. They're supposed to be innovative, right? They're not a marketing company. They're not a company that can just rest on their laurels. Whenever I think about this example, I think of like the conversation between PepsiCo, right, and Apple. And if you've never seen this interview by Steve Jobs, it's like one of the most amazing interview ever, right? Where basically Steve is like, hey, I hired the head of PepsiCo, right, to become the head of Apple, and it's like the worst mistake of my life. That guy can't innovate for shit, and he doesn't understand innovation. And his company, he doesn't have to innovate. The most innovative thing that happens in Pepsi is that there's a new design for the bottle, or if there's cherry or not inside the actual like Pepsi, right? And so of course it's all about marketing. It's the same product that you have to market in different ways to keep people interested and keep people buying. Then you take a company like Apple, and it's all about product design. It's all about like figuring out what is a better product, how do you beat your competition every single possible way, and continue to do that every single year, every single time. If you don't innovate, you die, right? In that culture, innovation is king. It's not about how you market your product, because even if you can market your product really well, once the product goes into the hands of the customers, they use it and they think it sucks, they're either going to want their money back or they're never going to buy your product again, and they're going to go out there for free, evangelize against you. They're going to tell your like customers, do not buy your products, go buy anybody else's stuff. And that is never good for a product company, an innovation company. Wizard of the Coast is an innovation company. I don't care what people think. I don't care. Oh, reprints, Mark. It's all reprints anyways, right? Secret layers, right? New secret layer alert, right? This kind of bullshit. Yes, I get it. It's reprints. But the company has to be innovative. Like Mark Rosewater talks about this all the time. They have to have new ideas to keep people interested. It's not about the marketing, right? They're not literally taking the same booster box and marketing it differently. That's not what they're doing. What they are doing is actually designing new products. And so it baffles me that a product company is spending 10% of their actual spending on products and 40+% on advertising. It's just completely flipped. And that, I think, is one of the reasons why Magic has been kind of stale. It's very commander focused and it's very boring. Why hasn't Magic been divided into two different products? Why don't we have just Magic Commander, Magic Standard, Magic Competitive, whatever, right? And actually have different product lines that people can buy for what they really want to play, right? Why doesn't that actually happen with Magic? They are so big, they're gigantic, they don't need to have one specific thing for their players. Number 2, why hasn't Magic spent a ton of money building their own IP? Imagine if, we talked about this all the time, where's the Magic Netflix show? Where's the Magic anime? Where's the Magic this and that? And if you think Magic doesn't have a good anime or background story, dude, the Magic story is actually fairly good, right? Here's a really good example. You think Magic can't actually make an anime? Go watch the Neon Dynasty intro trailer, right? With that song and everything. I think it was done by gosh, I should, as a level 2 weeb, I really should know this, but I don't fucking know this, right? But it's a really pretty well-known anime company, house that did this, but they did the whole entire video, they did the music, all that stuff. It's amazing, right? And out of the music video, there was so many little threads that you could you could just flesh that whole thing out into an actual anime, right? It has all the pieces there. It's got this love story going on. It's got the big bad, Ginger Taxis. Ginger Taxis is in there, right? He's messing with Tamio, and you got the Wandering Emperor and Kaito trying to rescue. Dude, it's amazing, right? It's got so many cool ideas. You got also Tezzeret doing evil stuff. Just take all those ideas. You can make a full-fledged anime. You got the Wandering Emperor kind of phasing in and out. They got this love story in the back, but you can have these powers from Kaito, and every time he thinks about having this thing with the Emperor, as they were kids, hanging out, whatever, and suddenly she comes in to save him. Bro, this is Demon Slayer level anime. Why is that not where the investment goes, right? Think about it. Imagine if they said, okay, here's $100 million, right? It's a lot of money, but it's do a good job. Here's $100 million. Go make 10 episodes of an amazing fucking cracked anime. Okay? People love anime nowadays, right? Put that shit on Netflix. You think people aren't gonna go and buy your booster boxes like crazy? They're gonna be cracking the cards, be like, oh shit, I got the Tamio card. Oh shit, I got the Wandering Emperor, right? Of course. Missed opportunity. Not understanding your actual community, not understanding where to actually spend the money. You're spending money advertising to who? Right? Half the advertising money, I don't even know where it's going to go because I haven't seen those ads. Where are the ad money? Chris Cox, where's the fucking money, man? You're spending all the money. What are you getting out of it? And lastly, I'll just close off with this, right? Maybe it's at the point where Magic is just honestly such a big game that it's missed the whole point. It's missed this whole idea that maybe it's just too big and there's nothing can do to save itself, right? Maybe Magic really should stop as a game. End it, seal off, have a great life. We're going to have a new game starting, 2025. Maybe that's the solution, right? Maybe it's just, again, too big for itself. Right now, the problem is, look, you print more cards, you get all the collectors like myself angry. And honestly, I keep telling people this and they don't believe me. I know it feels like you can have a game that's 100% free, right? Imagine a game where you can instantly have every single card you need to build decks, whatever. You think that's what you want, and I guarantee you that's not what you want. Having a game like that, having a game where every card is 0, nobody wants to play that game. Because I can tell you, those games exist. Think about games like Dominion. Think about games like any of the LCGs, right? Living card games. They don't last very long because there's no chase, there's no excitement. And players need that excitement. There's something that's about like opening pack and seeing something new, seeing a really rare card that excites people. That excitement drives more players to be interested, and that interest drives more actual competitive players. And this is how the game builds. If there's none of that excitement, people kind of just teeter. And yes, you can build a very good card game, right? Legend of 5 Rings, but they just die because give the game long enough time, and it's like, hey, it's not as interesting. People kind of just fade away again. So that's actually not what you want. You do want some sort of collectability, whether it's hyper rare cards, serialized. That's why I never had a problem with serialized cards as a concept. I do think that overprinting them makes them less valuable, which makes me not want to spend my money on it. Again, if it drives more players to the game, great. But I'm not going to sink my money into serialized cards, because I just don't think they're worth really anything long term, right? And again, the funny thing, this is the funniest part, I have one of the original serialized cards, right? So this is from I believe this is the Praetor pack from the Secret Lair, but they were testing stuff. And so they inserted these serialized Viscera Seers, reverse print Viscera Seers into those packs. I happened to pull number 28. Is it worth some money? Absolutely, right? But long term, do I really care? No. And that's the thing, because if we have tons of serialized cards, they can print another one of the Viscera Seers, serialized, whatever, then who cares? Why does it matter? Because to me, this card, in my mind, is not worth as much as a Tabernacle Penarel Veil, right? Or a, I don't know, we've been talking about Legends cards, but Rasputin, or maybe some Alpha. Dude, honestly, an Alpha Goblin King feels to me like it's worth more than this card. Right? It just, again, that's true collectability, that's true rarity versus this weird implied rarity. I don't like that. So I think in a lot of ways, Magic has become just too big. It's trying to do so many things at this point, and everything it tries to do, it kind of just fumbles and fails. And for the game to kind of pivot, adjust, it's just too hard because there's too many cards, there's too many people with different interests, there's too much money on the line. And so they can't really change, right? And a lot of that's why, the old guards, the people who used to build a really cool game have left. And everyone else who's left have kind of converted to this new way, right? Where it's an advertising, sales-driven organization, not a product innovation-driven organization. And that's why I think in a lot of ways, Magic the Gathering is dying and won't last a long time, right? Will it always be a game? Probably. Will it be a game system that people can use for their own games and IPs? Probably. And that's actually a pretty smart idea, right, in general. But is it a game that's recognizable by you and me and something that we want to play? No. And that's the unfortunate part, is that I think long term, the longer this universe is beyond bullshit happens, the more of this drive, cash grab happens, a lot of the older players are exiting. And I see it left and right because, I can gauge whenever I have more people selling me older sets, it gives me signals that, hey, a lot of people are looking at this and saying, hey, man, I don't know if I want to be part of this game anymore. Maybe this is not really for me anymore. And that's what's happening here and there, everywhere. People are looking at Magic the Gathering and saying, you know what, it's not really something I want to play anymore. It's not something that I'm super interested in anymore. So, yeah, in a lot of ways, I think the funny thing is Wizard of the Coast actually can turn this whole thing around. And it kind of goes to a lot of the videos I made earlier this year, right? About things I would do if I was working at the Wizard of the Coast, if I was running the ship, if I was CEO of Hasbro. If you guys are super interested in understanding how I would run Hasbro, how I would run Wizard of the Coast, how I would revitalize, renew, refresh Magic the Gathering, let me know. And if there's enough interest, I will look to make that video. Anyways, that's going to do for me for today. I'm Mark from SolarGames, and y'all stay classy. See you next time.